Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the NHBA podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Gould. We got a good one for you today. This podcast brought to you by our sponsor, Purina. Find out what top nutrition can do for your dog today. On today's episode, we're going to take a look at the 2023 NHBA Days event. We're going to have Alan Newby on, president of the NHBA, to help us out with that. And then we're going to have special guest and winner of the 2023 NHBA Days, Doug McCombs. So stick around. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, folks, I'd like to welcome on to the podcast president of the NHBA, Alan Newby. How's it going, Alan?
Pretty good. Good to be on. How you doing today, buddy?
Good, man. Good. So we're going to just talking a little bit about the NHBA Days event held this past March, and I appreciate you coming on to review all this with me.
Yeah, good to be on here. It was definitely an unforgettable one weather-wise, and it was very, very unforgettable.
Absolutely. So,
yeah, we had some pretty extreme weather.
So here we are. We're back March 17th through the 19th. Magenta County Beagle Club. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's our NHBA Breed Days hunt. That's one of the UKC Big Five events. So right off the top, Alan, some people may not know what exactly is NHBA Days, other than a Big Five event. What exactly is that hunt, and why is it so important?
It's really our biggest our big hunt for the National Hunt and Beagle Association. It's kind of to showcase our organization. To where we try and have most of the members there, to where we have the one yearly meeting when all of us can actually be together, face to face. We have our yearly meeting, and we try and make it our biggest points hunt. Just try and make it as big as we possibly can, and just, it's a good time for everybody. And
that's a good point there. I actually forgot to put that in my notes, but this particular event for folks that are trying to win that NHBA sectional race, it was actually a quad point event this year. I think it was worth 12 points. Is that right? Yes.
It's the biggest points hunt for the whole year. We've got the Big Five. All of the hunts, all the Big Fives actually you have a good opportunity to pick up points. But we had talked in the last couple of years to make this hunt, because it was our signature, our hunt, the NHBA Days, that we felt that this hunt itself should give the dog an opportunity to pick up the most points.
Sure.
Out of all of the Big Fives, and I think we did a pretty good job of doing that, and it worked pretty good this year so far. So
you mentioned the weather there. We'll kind of get into that more here later, because it was one of the bigger storylines of that weekend. But let's talk a minute about Magenta Beagle Club, which is a club that's been around a long time, been a really good club to the NHBA. And those of you that may not have ever been to that part of the country, man, they got some great running.
Oh yes, the running was phenomenal. It really surprised me with the weather being what it was. Very, very high winds, snow, but just to be honest with you, it was unreal how good the running was. It really surprised me, and in more ways than one, because my dog doesn't get to see a lot of snow, but I mean, he did a pretty decent job. I was pretty proud of him, but it was just unreal how they could run on it. That's all new to us Southern boys, running on that snow. So it was cold, but it was fun.
you guys down there get a little bit of frost, and they call a national emergency for the roads, don't they?
Oh God, yeah, you get 2 inches of snow and they shut school down.
I was where was I? I was going through Greensboro one time. We went to a PBR bull riding event down there, and well, I guess for our listeners, probably ought to tell everybody you're from South Boston.
Yeah, South Boston, Virginia,
right?
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
And that area there, we went. I think we actually took a scenic route down into the Greensboro. But anyways, they got an ice storm, and it wasn't nothing too bad. But that whole area was just shut down. There wasn't nobody on the roads. I've never seen Greensboro, North Carolina, so open with no traffic.
Yeah. You get a little ice really cripples us out down here, and snow. I don't even think if we got anything this year, was a dusting. I actually saw some more snow that weekend up there, and I've seen in maybe 2 years down here. So,
anyways, so let's get into the meeting part. You have your annual meeting, and that's where this Hall of Fame voting is. The Hall of Fame votes are counted within that. After the membership meeting, or is it before the meeting?
They are counted actually before, so we can announce the Hall of Fame stuff during the meeting. We try and count those beforehand, but the meeting is the membership's opportunity to bring up anything that they want, any changes, talk about anything, let us know as president and officers and board members any concerns or anything. It's a really good thing because it's their way of putting in how they feel. So that's the good thing about this hunt. We get to see everybody face to face and work out any concerns and issues that we have.
And just to let our listeners know, there actually was a big change approved this year by the membership. Some changes to the Hall of Fame dogs.
A major change to the Hall of Fame dogs. Yes.
And in my opinion, I think you would agree, Alan, I think it's going to be a good change.
I really do. I think it's going to be a tremendous change to it. It's going to work really good. It's going to put the spotlight on the hound and his accomplishments of what they've done. So I'm very excited to see how this year turns out and see, some of the dogs that actually get nominated and so on. But it's going to be great.
And we're not going to get too much into the details of that today, folks. We're actually planning a live show where we're going to go on and talk about this change to the Hall of Fame. And you'll be able to come on, ask questions. And so that'll be coming soon, so be looking for that. I will tell you, though, that it is a merit-based Hall of Fame system for these dogs going forward. And I think it's, as Alan said, I think it's going to be a real positive change. So within that Hall of Fame this year, we want to go over these Hall of Fame dogs, our Hall of Fame breeder that went in this year, our active members. And then we also have something real special, which is those charter members that became lifetime members. So just getting started here, Alan, let's talk about these dogs that went into the Hall of Fame. First up, we have World Hunting Beagle Champion, Grand Hunting Beagle Champion, Hall of Fame, D'Agostino Sermongo. Dog that's been around a long time. I know you've seen the dogs several times, I'm sure, Alan.
Oh, yeah. I've run with Monroe over his whole career when he started as a pup. He's one of those dogs that, you see the name. I mean, it's just you constantly see his name everywhere. Well deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Good to see him go in.
Absolutely. Our second dog that went in was champion, Grand Hunting Beagle champion, Hall of Fame, Shenango White River Bill. And so right there's two dogs that have been around, both older male dogs now. Bill he's also had a big impact on our sport, Alan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You did not go to a Big Five hunt somewhere that you didn't hear either one of those dogs' name. Most of the time in the top 10, if not in the top 4. They were always a contender. So,
Absolutely. So congratulations to Owen D'Augustine and also Steve Moore and Jason Vandergriff for those two dogs going into the Hall of Fame. Well-deserved, guys. I've seen both these dogs run. I don't know. I've probably seen Mongo four or five times, seen Bill a bunch, and well-deserved, no question about it. So
absolutely.
Moving right along, continuing our review here of the Hall of Fame inductees. Our breeder this year that went in was Owen D'Augustine, owner of Mongo. He also owned Mongo's sire, which was Brute. Any of you have been around a while would know of that Brute Winnie cross that Mongo would be from. Well deserved.
Absolutely. I think I've been in sport going on 17, 18 years, and Owen was in it way before me, and he's always been a contender, always packed a good dog, and he was one of those. He bred his own dogs and that type of thing. So, well deserved.
Yes, sir. I can remember Owen when he was first coming to some hunts, and he might even been a teenager at the time. So,
absolutely.
He's put in the time and has developed a winning breeding program, and that's to be commended. Okay.
Absolutely.
Last but not least, every year, folks, we have some active members go in. I wanted to touch on, before I announce these two, Alan, I always figured, in my opinion, these active members is a special induction because these are folks that have really put in time and helped the organization.
Yes.
Can you tell us just what you look for in an active member to be going into the Hall of Fame?
Supporting the organization, really, and always willing to help. Just kind of go above and beyond to do anything they can for the organization and to, not only for the organization but to better our sport. We're not a big sport, but we are. We look at a number and say, "Oh, that's not big," but to us, I think, and as an organization this year, we've got more NHBA members than we've ever had. This is our highest year ever. Just somebody that supports it and willing to do anything and go above and beyond just to help everybody, and that's what this is all about, is to showcase them, and it's all about them.
Well, and as you're saying that, I'm looking at these two names, and I know they check the box. So without further ado, our two active members going into Hall of Fame this year, Chuck Kearns and Ron White. These two guys travel, go to the events, support the NHBA. I believe Chuck's from Indiana. Ron is from West Virginia. Just two great guys, Alan.
Absolutely. And like you say, they travel. Chuck, both of them do. I'm not taking anything one from the other, but Chuck, every year for the last several years, he has come to North Carolina to the state hunt.
That's a haul for him, for sure.
It's a haul, and he drives down by himself, and it's always a pleasure to hunt with him. And he's actually won the state hunt down here.
I just seen Chuck at the West Virginia State Hunt. He
goes all over. He's all over. As I'm talking about Chuck and Joe, and I think Chuck had 2 dogs in the top 10. On Sunday.
Okay.
At NHBA days, he was a contender there for a while, and he's always been a pretty good dog.
16. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, both of these guys, Ron and Chuck, both well deserved.
Yeah.
Glad to see them go in.
And just,
And
being that Ron lives just not too far from me, and I've known Ron for, well, since he started coming to hunts. I'm trying to think how long that's been now. It's been a long time. And one thing that's consistent here in West Virginia that I kind of joke about, but it's the truth. When we have an event, there's a couple things you can guarantee. Uh, the sun's going to rise in the east, and Ron, Wyatt, and John Hill are going to be there.
that's right.
I
Yeah,
mean, you can set your watch to it, man. Those guys, they support this area as much as anybody I've seen in my 20 plus years of being affiliated in any way with United Kennel Club.
Yeah, you always see them at all the big hunts and all your local hunts and different things, and they do a good job supporting us, and they were well deserved to go into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so congratulations, Chuck and Ron. Well deserved. We appreciate everything you guys do, and couldn't be more happy for the both of you. So let's talk. Before we actually started recording, Newby and I were talking about this next section here, and pretty special part of this review we're doing, in my opinion. So, when the NHBA first started, what are we, 22, 23 years ago, Alan?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. To get the organization off the ground, they had charter members. And, Alan, just tell these folks what those charter members meant and still mean today to our organization.
Absolutely. They were the backbone of it. And the charter members actually put up, when the organization was formed, the charter members became charter members by putting up money to help get the organization off its feet and get it going and that type of thing. And I can't remember exactly how many it was. And I'm sure may have missed some, and I hope we don't and didn't. But the five that we had Angie and Jason Vandergriff, Nat Turner, Roy Swafford, and Jeff Stacy. As one of the votes at NHBA days, we voted to make these guys lifetime members, and it was well deserved because they were in this from the beginning, and they basically they all are what started the organization. Without them, who knows, there wouldn't be an organization right now. No. And it was well deserved, and we probably should have done it a few years ago, but all of them are Hall of Famers in my book anyway, because, they're the ones you look up to so much week in and week out. And they've seen a lot of changes over the years.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
And I think, in their eyes, I think hopefully everything we're doing is for the better, which I know we are. We're stronger now than we've ever been. That shows as membership-wise and participation. So it's just a great time and great thing to have those become lifetime members.
Yeah, I couldn't be happy for those five. Just thinking about how long they've been a part of what we're doing, and just good people as well. And I don't want to preview too much or foreshadow too much about what I'm about to say about Angie, because we are planning to have Angie on the podcast here soon enough. Angie was actually, and I hope I have this right, she was the first secretary ever of the NHBA.
I believe you're right.
And Angie, I can remember being at the late Dale Prunty's house all those years ago, and Angie sitting there on the couch, and Dale kind of just spitballing the ideas he had before this organization was founded, and Angie with a notepad, writing. I can remember her just working her butt off to help get this thing off the ground. So I'll save some of that for for when we get Angie on. But yeah, I thought that was really cool, Alan, to get those folks. And just one more time for listeners, so we had Angie and Jason Vandergriff. We had Jeff Stacy, Matt Turner, Roy Schwalford. Those 5 folks went from charter members to now lifetime NHBA members. So congratulations to those 5.
Absolutely.
Folks.
Congratulations to all of them.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're kind of moving along here. Is kind of how the weekend went. Let's get into this hunt. So before we obviously have a show and a hunt at NHBA days. So what did the format, if you went to NHBA days and you wanted to win this hunt, let's talk about what did that format look like this year in the hunt, Alan?
We had the A rounds, and you've had pretty good opportunity, and you probably got it all wrote down. I'm sure I'm going to miss something. Just talking off the hip here.
Well, basically, a guy could enter in 2 of the 4 rounds. You had 4 hunts,
right?
And
you can only run your dog in 2 of the rounds. You could run one on Friday, one on Saturday, either way you wanted it. Go ahead, Mitch. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. So those 4 rounds, a guy could show up and essentially run 2 dogs, and he could pick which 2 rounds he wanted to run each one of them in. You get an AM, and PM, each day, and that ended up that was on Friday and Saturday, and then on Sunday, you took your top 16 dogs that had 1 cast Friday and Saturday. So obviously, if you won your cast both times, you were pretty much a shoe-in for that top 16 runoff. From there, It went to single cast winners that had the highest score. Does that sound right, Alan? I hope I got that.
Yes. Right. Yes, that sounds right. And I can't remember how many double cast winners we had this year.
Good question.
I can't remember. I should have wrote all that down from right there, but I tell you, it was.
Yeah.
It was a few, but that's a busy weekend right there for these board members and everybody. It's honestly changing the format to the way we had it this year. The hunt seemed to have kind of just flowed and went along. It was a little more, I don't want to say, maybe a little more laid back. It didn't feel as rushed as it did in the years before when we were having to do so much and just rush to get it in. Yeah. It seemed to make you give yourself time to enjoy and just take the hunting.
Yes. Years past with that runoff on Friday and then trying to get all them rounds in, I mean, pretty tough,
Yes.
You guys are scrambling. I mean, busy, and that made it.
And your meeting, you don't want to rush through your meeting because the meeting itself is one of the most important things for the weekend. As we said before, to get everybody's opinion and what's going. So you don't want to feel like you're shortchanging them on the meeting part. So you definitely want to take your time with that. And with this format we've got now, it seems to work really well.
So what I liked about this change this year, last year, folks, you had a top 4 based on those casts. So, and you could run the same dog all 4 rounds if you wanted. So if you was a 3 out of 4 cast winner, you were probably in the top 4. This year, going to the 16, if you went out there and won your cast both times with your dog, you was guaranteed to get into that top 16 runoff.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really fair and very appealing to everybody that participated. So I like that a lot. And just thinking, I'm just looking here, and I think between the hunt and the show, I want to say you were somewhere around 150 entries. Does that sound right?
It's somewhere close to that. We were definitely down a little bit from last year, but not taking nothing. I don't mean nothing by this saying this, but location has a lot to do with the numbers that you have at the hunts. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But the running out there is just so unreal, and the weather. Yeah. I still say weather knocked us down probably 20 or 30 dogs. I really think the weather had a big issue for the weekend, but
It really did. I know a lot of people that, you know, that I personally know, they were watching that weather and they were seeing how bad the roads were going to be for them to get there to and from. So, you know, I know that definitely hurt the numbers.
oh yeah, yes, it did. But
So you mentioned weather, so it's about time we get into the that's such a huge storyline here. So Friday rolls around, it's time to get these dogs in the woods, and I'm talking to some of my friends that were at the event, and they're like, "Man, running is awesome. It's 50 degrees and rain." So Friday,
yeah,
you guys had just like prime conditions.
yes, yeah, good conditions, good running, and Saturday rolls around, and oh my Lord, the wind is blowing,
Yeah.
like 30, 40 mile an hour gust. And it would spit rain every once in a while. But there again, the running again on Saturday was just, it was phenomenal. It was unreal.
To go from like,
You had snow in certain spots. You were running on, some light snow in the different areas, but it was still just outstanding running. These guys did one heck of a job getting every cast in rabbits. I don't think I heard all weekend a cast come back that they did not say they did not have, just some absolute good running.
oh yeah,
Everywhere they went.
you know, you go to a lot of clubs and areas, and you know, there's a few honey holes. When you go to Majinka, it's like every place you go to would be a honey hole in some places in the country. They just have
Yes,
that good a
yeah,
run. Hmm.
yeah. And uh, I was out Saturday morning. I ran Saturday morning, I think was the last round I ran, and I was out on the finals. And I'll be honest with you, I actually think that the running spot I was on Saturday morning was just as good, if not better, than the spot that we run the finals on.
Wow.
To me, I mean, the running, it was just as many rabbits at one spot as it was the other. So,
And you
I
guys,
mean, no matter where you went.
which is really crazy because you guys wake up Saturday morning and the temperature had dropped like 40 degrees. It's blowing, it's blowing 30, and you guys got snow on the ground.
Yep.
So welcome to the Midwest in March, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the dogs had to adjust. I mean, I know everybody said they still had great running, but you know, obviously things change a little bit. Now, I think it did warm up a little bit for you guys later in the day. And Sunday wasn't quite as bad with the wind. It did get a little nicer for Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday was probably the nicest day out of the three. That
Okay.
was probably the nicest day. So
Yeah. I remember
out
the
of all.
live stream of the finals that I watched. It looked like it was sunny and it wasn't really that windy for you guys. And to give you
Right.
a good, you know, a nice final cast and to run that top 16 on Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So let's go ahead and so what the show was the bench show to crown your NHBA days overall bench show winner would have been on, is that Friday or Saturday, Alan?
We did that Saturday, I think.
And trying to pull this up here. Who was I'm trying to remember who exactly who your bench show judge was.
Um,
Do you remember off the top of your head?
Gingrich.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I've got the bench show results here, and this will be a real surprise. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic because this lady has done so much in the bench show circuit. Probably has won every bench show we have in UKC. I would say probably at least maybe some of them twice. So your
Yeah.
overall bench show winner was Burke's Little Miss Molly, a female owned, handled by Angie Vandergrift and Audie Burke.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to Angie. That's a beautiful little dog. And I'm sure you will be seeing her again here later in the year, potentially maybe at the World Show.
I'm sure.
So that was our bench show. And let's go ahead and get into our top 16. So again, folks, these top 16 dogs ran on Sunday to try to win the title as your NHBA Days overall winner. How did they get to Sunday? Well, that means they won casts on Friday and Saturday. Some of these are double cast winners. Some of them are single cast winners to get into that top 16. So, all right, Alan,
Okay.
so let's go over this top 16 going into Sunday. We've got our first round, our first matchup here. I'll just do them by cast. We had four dog casts. Our first cast, Heat 'em Up, Rowdy Reputation, Butler's Trooper, Velt Camp, and McCombs Dude, and Stacy's Mountain Outlaw Casper. That would have been cast number 1. Cast number 2 was Butler's Tank, Beamer Butter, I'm Right, You're Wrong, Chuck Shenango Charlie, and that would have been our second cast. Moving on to our third cast in the semifinals, Swamp Master's Trump, D'Agostino's Misty, Halfway Winnie, Halfway Pork Chop, and now on to our fourth and final semifinal cast was Logan Hills Wilma, Maestro Mac, America's Stylish Trump, and Triple H Blue Ringer. So that's a pretty outstanding 16 right there, Alan. Some really good dogs in there.
Yes, it is. Run with a lot of those dogs. Most of them really over the past year and a half. Some pretty tough casts right there to come out on top of.
And again, like you said, I remember seeing the scores coming in that day. They ran rabbits.
Oh yeah.
That club.
Oh yeah.
That club was really prepared, weren't they?
Yes, they were. They put everybody in rabbits, and they did we had a lot of spots out there where they give us a pin and they send us to this location. We hunted a lot of public land. And it was just unreal. That cast, Sunday morning on that public land, I mean, from the time we got there until we left, we run rabbits. I mean, we ran really, really, really well.
That's awesome. So out of that semifinal cast, Alan, we end up with the final 4 to go out and crown our NHBA Days 2023 winner. In that final cast, ladies and gentlemen, we had Velt Camp and McCombs Dude, Butler's Tank, D'Agostino Misty, and America's Stylish Trump. So here's your 4 dogs in the finals, Alan. I know Tank's been around a long time, been in the top 8 several times. Misty's been doing a lot of winning this year. I know Jason McMillan's made a comeback, been doing some winning with her. And then the Trump dog. And Trump dog's been around a while. He's won a bunch of casts, finalists at the World Hunt a few years back. So, and then we've got DJ McCombs, who long time, very, very successful coon hunter, and has really came into UKC here and done a lot of winning. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys were looking forward to that cast.
Oh, we were. That was a great cast. 4 great dogs. The running was good in the cast. It wasn't as good as some I'd seen all weekend, but I don't think it had nothing to do with it had nothing to do with the dogs or anything. If anything, the prettier weather may have screwed it up a little bit, got it a little bit off, but, they were so used to the wind and the snow and they didn't know how to act in the sun, but, no, the running was okay. But it was a great cast.
Absolutely. And we'll just go ahead and announce this winner. So your 2023 comes out on top here. Your 2023 NHBA Days overall winner, hunting beagle champion Velt Camp and McCombs Dude. DJ McCombs from Muskegum, Michigan. Congratulations to DJ. I've heard a lot of great things about Dude. And actually, Alan, here in just a little bit when you and I finish up, we're going to have DJ on the podcast. So he's going to come on.
Well, great. Good deal.
Yeah, we're going to have him on and talk about his big win and learn a little bit about DJ. So, again, on behalf of the NHBA, congratulations to these top 4 dogs, and especially to DJ and Dude. All right. Now, go ahead, Alan.
Also, we need to, Mitch, our high scoring youth for the weekend also was, Brocky B, Brock Butler.
Yeah, big shock there, right? I mean,
yeah, to be honest with you,
as usual,
Brocky B probably had the best or the biggest weekend out of everybody. If you really think about it, over the weekend, Brocky B kind of walked away from NHBA days with probably one of the biggest prize packages anybody's ever walked away with, other than the Clash. But
yeah,
we got to think about it. Brocky B finished in the top 8 of the points last year.
Mm-hmm.
He actually won the NHBA youth for the year last year in 2022.
Right.
Then he was high scoring kid at the hunt, and then finished in the top 4. Old Brocky B walked away with a pretty good sized prize package.
Absolutely, I would say
weekend.
I'd say Nate had the cab of that truck pretty filled with prizes, because that's a substantial prize package for sure. And
absolutely.
So absolutely, Alan. Glad you brought that up. Congratulations to Brock. I think sometimes we just get used to seeing Brock being the youth winner of some of these events, and he puts the time in. There's no question about it. So, mentioning
absolutely,
we were just mentioning prize packages. Let's hit on our sponsors a little bit, because this event, which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that's been around the NHBA. They're always looking to give back to the hunter, and this event's no different. As is the sectional race for prizes. So what's some of the sponsors, Alan, for this event and NHBA that you want to mention here?
First and foremost, when you walked in the door of the clubhouse up there was no way around it. You couldn't help but notice, you had like a 30-foot section, maybe 5 foot high, of nothing but Purina dog food.
Wow.
First and foremost, we want to thank Mr. Mark Cassio and Purina. Purina had Dave McVeigh as a representative there, and I want to thank him for all his help for the whole weekend. He was great, and he's always a big help to us. First and foremost, I want to thank them. They're our major sponsor for the year. With all they do for us, can't say enough about them.
That's for sure.
It's just phenomenal. But we Diamond Deluxe, Ging 4, Daltra,
I know the jackets.
Yeah.
Okie Dog Supply, is that right?
Yes, and Chip Eisenhut, and we've got 2 more guys on here, and I hope we hadn't forgotten anybody, but we've got 2 more guys on here that we worked with over the last couple of years to donate these hunts to these kids. One is Brian Campbell and Elite Trophy Outfitters out of Ohio, and the other one is Mr. James Edmonds in Edmonds Farms here in Halifax County, Virginia. Actually lives next to me here. Want to thank both of them for donating these two hunts each to these kids that win this youth series. So
cool.
That's just a little something extra, and it's always good to we just try and do a little bit more and go above and beyond for these kids. And want to thank everybody. I mean, with our team sponsors, none of this could happen.
You're so
none
right,
of
buddy. And
also, I want to throw a little something in there too. I brought it up earlier talking about our membership. Saying this year, this is the highest membership we've had since NHBA was formed. and there's a lot of things that contributed to that. As you know, we did membership drives. If you joined NHBA before NHBA days, we did a raffle where we gave a Garmin TT15 collar away. Mm-hmm. And, actually a guy from my club, Lick Kill It Beagle Club, he's a member of my club. He actually won that, but this is what I want to, I guess I'm kind of putting a spotlight on, and this is what makes NHBA great. His guy's name is Eric. He comes to my club and he goes to Randolph County Beagle Club some, but he joins NHBA because of what we do for the kids and everything else. And Eric actually won that collar. And,
oh, wow.
That's pretty cool that, a guy that's willing to donate. And even though he doesn't travel, it makes a difference. And, also with all you did at the, Eliminator, all the gun raffles and everything, that did a major role in giving it back to the hunters. One thing that we are going to do this year for a membership drive, we're working on it right now. We're trying to get it to where we're going to do like a gun of the year. And we're going to give it away at NHBA days, and we're trying to get it worked out to where we can get the, butt of the gun, embroidered, engraved with our logo in the year. And we're going to try and do this every year. The guns that we give away are going to be guns. All they're good for is just rabbit hunting. It'll be some type of a rabbit hunting gun. And there again, we just want to get back to the membership, and that's what it's all about. Yes.
And just to
you are a big part of the membership thing, and I want to thank you for everything you done at the Eliminator too, also. So.
And about that Eliminator, Alan, and I appreciate that. Thank you for that. But I got to shine some light. Those gun raffles were provided by Donnie Reynolds at D.R. Reynolds Gun Shop and Gun Range in Clarksburg, West Virginia. Mr. Reynolds was so generous at the Eliminator and to the NHBA. He had actually listened to one of the podcasts and called me, and I've known the man my whole life. And he said, "Hey, I know you guys are trying to do a membership drive." He says, "Why don't I donate some guns?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, sure, And that's where folks might have seen the picture of the Gatling gun that we auctioned off, and also that beautiful over and under wing shooting gun. I believe it was a Benelli, maybe. But yeah, so D.R. Reynolds Gun Shop, Clarksburg, West Virginia. Really appreciate what he did for NHBA this past February to kind of help kick off that membership. Really appreciate that.
And it worked. It's very evident that all the hard work is paying off, and you're with the membership drive. So
yes, sir.
I want to thank everybody that contributed. We really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So folks, if you've listened to this podcast or any of our others, there's plenty of reason to join the NHBA. So if you're not a member, please get a hold of you can go on the NHBA Facebook page and contact the NHBA and join that way. You can join at a hunt and become a member. Your membership does so much, and I hope we've done a good job of showing what some of that membership privileges are and how it helps the sport and the kids. I mean, I don't know, Alan, of an organization that does more for kids in our sport than NHBA and UKC. If there is one, I challenge anybody to tell me one that does more, and I'll admit I'm wrong, but I don't know of another one.
I don't think so. We give scholarships away every year. I mean, it's totally, NHBA is an organization that actually gives back to the hunter. That's what it's all about, is giving back and the guys that run the points and the kids, and it's all about the to give back. That's what it's all about.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, Alan, we're getting ready to wrap up here. I really appreciate you coming on and reviewing NHBA days with me and getting some of this information to our members and our listeners.
All right. Well, it's good to be on. Glad to help any way I could. And, we appreciate you and all you do with the podcast.
Well, it's been it's a lot of fun for me, and I hope that we're having some enjoyable content for folks, and I always feel like any visibility we can put on the sport, the better off the sport will be, and that's my hope.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So,
absolutely.
All right, Alan. Well, we'll just go ahead and I'll be seeing you soon. I'll probably be seeing you maybe next weekend, maybe I guess.
Yep. I'll be at the Memorial Hunt next weekend.
So
by you.
Yes, sir. That's the next weekend NHBA sectional double point event. Terry Lemley Memorial Hunt, Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. That's a good. We'll go ahead and plug that in here, guys. That's the next sectional. I'm pretty sure around. So if you're looking for a fun time, I believe they're giving away. I don't want to say the exact number, but I know first place is $1,000 at that event.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw it.
Yep.
Always a great hunt, y'all. The guys.
Yeah, got nice youth.
They always go above and beyond.
Be some great food.
Absolutely.
Great. And that hunt's always a good, social time. Just good people and good time of year for. It might be hot, but it's a good time to hang out and see everybody. So come on out, Terry Lemley Memorial Hunt. That's the next sectional, folks. And I guess I'll see you at that hunt, Alan. So.
All right. Good talking to you, Mitch.
Talk to you later, buddy. Thanks.
All right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Doug McCombs to the podcast. How are you, Doug?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing well, my man. Doing very well. I really appreciate you getting with me and doing this interview with us. We've been trying to get together for a while, and 100% on me. We finally able to hook up here. I'm excited to talk about your big win. Just a little bit ago on the podcast, I kind of went over that weekend, and we kind of left the final cast a little bit untouched, and I want to get into your big weekend, buddy. So first off, so I got you, let's see here, it's Rothbury, Michigan is where you're from. Is that right?
Yep.
And now I fish quite a bit in Michigan. Is that anywhere near like the Muskegon River, the Pierre Marquette, anywhere in that?
We're really close to Muskegon River. I'm just north of Muskegon. I mean, I literally live 6-7 miles from Lake Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm like right by like Michigan Adventures.
Oh, I know exactly where you're at.
Yep.
I've always, every time we go up there steelhead fishing in the tributaries, I always kind of think, man, this looks like pretty good rabbit cover.
Yeah, we got really good rabbit hunting, coon hunting.
Kind of swampy, not real steep ground, kind of flat ground.
Well, we got just about anything. From my house, you go north, you can be in nasty stuff. You go south, you can be in easy cornfield country. You go east, it's pretty easy. So we got just about anything that you want. I could be to within 30 minutes.
Now, how far do you have to travel to get into snowshoe?
An hour.
An hour. Okay.
Yep.
That's nice. I'm already jealous. You've got my favorite place to catch steelhead in the country in your backyard. Now you're telling me you're only an hour from Snowshoe Hare, so.
Yeah.
But I don't want your winters. I don't want any part of that for sure. So.
Yeah, they've been pretty mild here the last couple of years, but we definitely I live on the lakeshore, so we do get hammered more than a lot of other parts of the state, but we do get hammered. But they've been pretty mild the last couple of years.
And you don't mind that, I'm sure. So.
No, I don't mind it. No.
Well, let's go ahead and get into this, Doug. So just if you could, for our listeners, just to kind of get us primed up here, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you grew up, just anything you want to share about yourself, and then we'll get into the dog stuff.
I grew up in Muskegon. So that's where I grew up. I've hunted dogs all my life, honestly. I think the first time I ever went hunting, I was like 4. With dogs, I grew up. My grandpa, my uncle, got me into dogs. My grandpa's had dogs all my life, rabbit dogs and coon dogs, and so I've learned a lot from them. So I've hunted as long as I can remember.
Oh, okay. This is something that you've been doing your whole life.
Yeah, yep. I haven't competition beagle hunted my whole life, but I've competition coon hunted since I've been 9. I'm 37 now.
Well, you and I have a lot in common.
Yeah.
What I grew up doing, and we're close to the same age. I'm a little bit older than you. I was talking to Sam Buff, who does the Buff and the Rough podcast there recently, and we talked a little bit about just what it means to be a houndsman, and I can, just assume you growing up in a hound family like you did. I would say just like I told Sam, being a houndsman is something is special to me. What does it mean to you to be a houndsman?
Well, to me, there's a difference between a houndsman and a competition houndsman, if that makes sense to you.
Absolutely.
Because like my grandpa, my uncle, they're houndsmen, both of them, but they're pleasure hunters, and they know what a good dog is, and they ain't colorblind or anything like that. I'm a little colorblind, as far as like coon dogs, but they'll hunt anything as long as they get the job done, But they're a different style of pleasure dog, and is a competition dog, and I live and breathe competition with my dogs. So I mean, if I hunt them for the competition, I don't do it for the pleasure, I guess you should say it. I put in the work, but I put the work in because I want to go to a competition hunt and see if I can compete against the best.
Sure. It drives you, that competition fire.
Yeah. Yep. It drives me, and then it's like onto my dogs. I don't run with a lot of people. I run a lot by myself. Like when I coon hunt, but I got good, like my grandpa, my uncle got me into hunting, but I've had good leaders to teach me the competition part of the sports. I've gotten lucky. I should say I was blessed. So like I've grown up like with Frank Giddy, one of the biggest walker breeders there is.
Sure.
But he's taught me so much as far as like competition, how to prepare a dog. And if you want to win, you got to put the work in, and I've hunted with Frank since I've been 10.
Okay.
So he's taught me a whole bunch, with the dog.
That's a good place to just get into some of this stuff I want to dive into. I knew you were, we have some common friends, and I knew you were into coon dogs and had been successful in the coon dog world. So just talk about, growing up coon hunting and getting into that, and maybe some of them first dogs and some memories in that. I assume you still do coon hunt as well, right? You trial both,
Yep.
right? Beagles and
Yep.
Let's just talk about the coon dog part first, because I'm interested to hear about that. Frank Giddings, for those listeners that may not know, that are maybe just Beagle only folks, this is a pretty world-renowned guy. Sackett Jr. kind of took the world by storm, breeding wise. I've had some dogs some Walker dogs that had some of his breeding in it, and let's get into that, Doug, if you would. Let's talk about them coon dogs.
Yep. So my like I said, I grew up, with coon dogs. My grandpa, and my mom, and dad always made sure I had a good dog, so I was blessed with that part. I didn't have to go through with like a lot of people up and downs, of not really knowing what a good dog was,
Mm-hmm.
So I started out knowing what a good dog was, and I've got more knowledge to even make dogs better. But like the first competition dog I ever hunted in the hunts, her name was Hooker. I raised her from a puppy. She was a really good, solid dog. Good track dog, good tree dog, pretty good about having coons. But I was 10, and I won. I made her night champion, put a couple wins on her towards grand, but she, not knowing what I know now, but she had a little bigger ears, so you had to really pay attention when you treat her, to make sure she run the right track in there if she was going to stick. Mm-hmm. So then I moved in up from her, and I got to hunting a dog that my grandpa had got, and they put a lot of time in. I got to hunting him in the hunts. His name was Cutter. He was off of Frank's old Rock River Bang dog.
Okay.
He taught me a whole lot. of actually what a dog really should do and what you should expect, So he's been my measuring stick for all my years going up through, what one should do, So if they didn't stack up to him, I moved him down the road,
Oh, sure.
But when I was 12 years old, I drew Frank out in a hunt, and he taught me a lot. And so that was on a Friday night. And then Saturday night, I went to a night hunt, and he goes, what do you think about hunting my dog for me tonight? And I have another dog to hunt. He says, and I'll pay you $100. 12 years old, $100. Holy cow. Yeah, I'll hunt your dog, Yeah. And that sparked one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, because ever since then, I've hunted dogs for Frank in the hunts. And, he's taught me the difference between a pleasure dog and a competition dog,
Mm-hmm.
And he's taught me so much and taught me how to prepare. And, he's helped me a whole bunch. So I appreciate everything he's done for me, but without that knowledge from, people, you just, you don't, some people just don't know, the work that actually has to be put into these dogs.
Yeah, I always say, they're athletes.
Yep.
First and foremost. Yep. And with that comes nutrition and health. With that comes preparation and training, development. There's a lot of worn boot leather involved in making a dog. There's a lot of worn boot leather in getting a dog ready for a field trial.
Yeah.
There's some things in my life, Doug, that, I haven't been around coon dogs for several years now, but having mountain curs and beagles, there's some things that do cross over in my mind. I just was curious as you were talking, what's some things when you talk about preparing and developing coon dogs, what's some things that cross over for our listeners that you could say that helped you, when you got into these beagles? And then we'll kind of move into beagles here in just a little bit.
Well, brains, a dog has to have brains. Mm-hmm. And drive, if you have, I like a dog that don't stand at my feet, goes hunting. So I like it in both my coon dogs and my beagles,
Amen.
Some people don't really prefer my type of beagle because they don't want to hunt as hard as mine,
Mm-hmm.
Cause mine, I can cut them loose and they're going hunting like a coon dog if they ain't nothing there to be run right there in front of them,
Absolutely.
But they, that's what I prefer, and a lot of people that hunt the hunts, they come to them and they're hunting their dogs. They hunt their pleasure dogs, and they do some good, but there's just a difference, a lot of people say, well, I want to hunt your dog. He hunts too hard. I said, well, that's fine with me,
Different strokes for different folks, right?
For sure. But, brains, that's the big thing it carries over. I'm very hard to please when it comes to a coon dog and a beagle. So, but one thing they do all have to have in common for me is to have brains.
Yeah. I always say a smart dog is a smart dog, and a hard going, gritty dog, I don't care what breed it is. You're looking for the same thing, even though it's a completely different game.
Yep, for sure.
So that's I've always found that kind of interesting, and any type of hound sport that somebody decides to get into, if they want to be successful, the common denominator is the work. There's a lot of time goes into these dogs, and
oh, absolutely.
The guys that are successful, I think sometimes people don't realize how much time is really being put into these dogs. Especially when they're developing. That dog didn't sit in the kennel 6 days a week.
No.
And I want to get into a little bit about training when we start to talk about dude a little bit.
Yep.
So I'm looking here. Give me 1 second. Got a nice picture here. I'm looking at dude right now. So, I told our listeners a little bit ago, you go on this past March, Majinka County Beagle Club, and win a Big 5 event, Doug. NHBA days, Hunting Beagle Champion, and help me with the pronunciation here. Velt Camps and McCombs dude, right?
Yep.
So you kind of bursted onto the scene here this year, winning one of the Big Five events. So let's just talk now specifically about the Biggles. How long have you had Biggles, and when did you start trialing Biggles?
I had beagles all my life. I normally only hunted beagles when our snow got too deep to coon hunt when I break the beagles out. I started trialing the beagles 7 years ago, but I run ARHA. And I'd run UKC some too, but they're so far from me. And we got quite a few ARHA clubs close to me. So, but all my dogs are granted in ARHA. So I was like, man, I like my dogs. I just think I can get rid of them because I can't hunt them in competition. So then this year I really focused on traveling to the UKC stuff.
Okay.
So like my very first UKC trial, like I dove right in, heads in, was $100. They come up with the first year they had the $100 Super Slam, the Thursday of the McVeigh hunt.
Oh, okay.
So that's the first UKC hunt I ever went to was that, and
4 years ago, maybe something like that.
Probably 4. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 4. Okay.
Yep. So so I went down there and got into the top 16, fell a little short, making the final 4. And it was that September. It's the weather down there was way hotter than it is here.
Sure.
So that played a big factor into it, but it was a good hunt. I had a good time. So, but like I said, I just run ARHA because they're a lot closer, and
sure.
I've had success in the ARHA.
Mm-hmm.
But I like UKC better than ARHA.
Mm-hmm.
Reason is I have a say what's going on out there.
Absolutely.
I like to be able to handle and be able to, have a say what's going on, and instead of, just relying on a judge trying to make all the things, and it's impossible for a judge to catch everything because you ain't gonna,
Sure.
You just can't.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. Actually, I like both formats. I'm actually an ARHA judge. I've judged some casts, and that's a good format too. I don't want to knock that format at all, but I understand what you're saying. When in the hunting Biggle format, those listeners that may not know is we have a majority vote on scoring situations. So
yeah,
it's a lot different. I know we have some pack trial guys from other formats that listen to this podcast, and I just wanted to point that out as to what Doug was referring to there. And I got to be honest, Doug, and I get asked this a lot, and you tell me what you think, but I've had guys from other formats say, "Oh, I bet that's just a knockdown, drag out fight argument the whole way." And I don't know what the percentage is, but it is a low percentage that I have seen problem casts.
Yeah, I honestly, probably in the last, dating back to the 7 years, I've probably hunted 30 UKC hunts. I've had 2 bad casts.
Exactly.
So, so I,
and in the grand scheme of life, that's pretty good percentage.
Yeah,
I don't care if you're into men's league basketball or playing poker at your buddy's house on Fridays. There's probably more arguments about anything other than that, if I was to guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, let's talk about Dude here. So, first off, congratulations. I know I told you this in person, but I want to tell you congratulations on winning that event. Winning a Big Five event is nothing easy to do. You and Dude pulled it off. So let's just talk about Dude a little bit, and then let's get into the event. So just tell me a little bit about Dude. What is he like? What do you like about him? How's he bred? Where did you get him from? Those kind of things.
Dude, like for the UKC, Dude's not a strike dog. He's a liner. He's pretty fast, got the brains. Normally pretty honest with his mouth, and when he gets the rabbit up, and he's got one thing on his mind, and that's to run him like he should,
Mm-hmm.
So that, like I said, he lacks in the striking category. Normally when he's open, the rabbit's running, he's not. So that hurts him a little bit. as far as that, but he's a liner. He gets majority of the lines.
Okay.
And then he makes dogs mess up trying to keep up, So that's his game.
He's the kind of dog that can get on the front but hold it, not necessarily an in and out dog, but can hold the front, you would say.
Yep, he hold the front. He's good, solid track dog, and he's got good speed. There's faster ones that will swing out, but I'm not saying that he won't swing if you get something pushing him, but if he ain't getting pushed overly hard, and he's pretty solid right to the thing, makes good cuts and don't overrun a lot.
You mentioned honest mouth and strike dog and all that, and I've had new guys or guys thinking about coming to a UKC trial. They see that 100 strike and they think, well, I need a dog that barks a lot. And if they keep reading in our rules, they'll soon find out that dog's also going to eat 100 minus at some point. And,
for sure.
I think that's important to note here that, it sounds to me like Dude's a good old fashioned rabbit dog that opens when he should and runs one the way he should, is what I hear.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what house he bred and where'd you get him at?
So he's off a dog called Check's Thunderview Cash, which goes back to Rose City Cash, Woodstock Grampy. His mom's name is name is Mishi, and she's Trails bred. So I
know he's kind of got that tan down the legs like Woodstock did.
Yep. So he I bought half a Dude 3.5 years ago. I went through a real bad breakup, and I almost quit hunting. I got rid of all my dogs but one.
Oh, man.
And so then I got looking, and I'd hunted with Dude and the hunts and judged him some. And I even took him and hunted him in some hunts and handled him in some hunts, ARHA for Davey Velkamp, who actually owns half a Dude with me.
Okay.
And then I went to go try to buy him, and he wouldn't sell him to me, but he sold me half of him.
Okay.
So I ended up buying half a Dude, and so that's how I got Dude. And
hence the Velkamp and McComb on Dude.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But he's been good to me. I granted him out in ARHA little pack. I won the Illinois State hunt with him.
How old a dog is he now? He's 4 or 5?
He's 7. He's 7 now.
Oh, is he really? Okay.
Yep. So, but like I said, so he got a little bit of a late start in the UKC career because, like I said, I didn't run UKC. So I'd like to maybe run him a few years ago in it, but he's done good for me. It's kind of, he's hurt right. He's not hurt right now, but he don't do real well in the heat. So like this time of year kind of puts a damper on him for trying to really run for something. So he's going to have to make a push this fall.
I got you. Go ahead.
But he's been really good to me.
Definitely. I mean, that's you to come down there and I seen you advancing in the hunt. I wasn't able to be there that weekend. You know what? I'm sure you knew you're a good houndsman, Doug. You knew what kind of dog you had on the end of your lead there, and I'm sure you felt pretty confident going down there.
Yep. I brought 3 dogs down there, and they all 3 won their first round.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt confident with all 3 of them, honestly. Mm-hmm. But I'm the one I hunted Dude. I hunted him early round on Friday and won. He looked pretty solid. Almost lost. He missed the line, and they scored the line behind me. He overcorrected himself and T-boned it. Mm-hmm. And then the dogs come in and fouled him, and so I only won the first round cast by 10 because they scored 100 points I didn't get.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that hurt me. But he looked good. He made a boo boo, but it didn't cost him. So
yeah, a friend of mine was in one of your casts out there, and he said that's a nice hound, and He actually told me that evening. He said, "If I don't win this thing, that dog's going to win it." He called it early. So
Yeah.
um,
So he looked good, and then the late round I hunted my pup and won with my pup. And it was actually high scoring register with my pup. And so that next morning I hunted him Saturday morning. I hunted him, won my cast and was high scoring champion. He looked really solid, looked good.
well, then you had a little bit of the weather changed just a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it got cold, a little bit of snow.
What was it, like 50, 40 and raining and great conditions, and then it went to just absolute, cold and snow and.
Yep. And I think that played some in my favor, because we went into the top 16, and he, like I said, he's not a strike dog, and he got both first strikes and scored first on all three lines we scored.
Nice.
So he looked good, but like I said, he wasn't a strike dog, but it was cold and the ground was,
had to get in there and find one, more or less.
Go and find him, and then it was tough running, for a little bit, and he used his brains and did what he had to do, to pull out the win.
Me personally, Doug, I've bred dogs. First and foremost, I think you do things based on what you like yourself. And
yep.
He sounds like the kind of dog that I like as far as and what I've heard about him. When I turn a dog loose, if there's not a rabbit here, I want him to go. And if it's 300-400 yards, I really don't care. Go find me a rabbit. And I've heard he really gets after it, which I like. And I know, like you said, it's not for everybody. But
no.
I want him off the path, in the brush. And if you got to go, go. I mean, don't run down a path 400 yards, but you get what I'm saying. It sounds like that's kind of what he does.
Yep. No, if he goes hunting, and, he'll check back in 30 minutes if he ain't got nothing, but he's out there hunting. I mean, ain't nothing for him to be out there 300, 400, 500 yards if, looking for a rabbit, and then you got in a lot of the hunts, the other dogs are back around there, you can see them. So they, but yeah, no, he looked really good. And like I said, in the top 16 to make it to the final, and he had a tough cast. I mean, I thought he had a Final Four cast that in the top 16,
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, your final cast, those conditions, and then middle of the day. I was following some of that. I believe Trevor was live for that final, and that was a tough. First of all, it was a tough cast. There's some good dogs in that cast,
for sure.
And second of all, it was fairly close from what I could gather, throughout the hunt. So let's let me see here. We had Butler's Tank. I might have mentioned this earlier in the podcast, but we can get these names out there. And Dagestan's Misty and America's Stylish Trump. Those were the three dogs in there with dudes. There's some good dogs there. Some dogs, Trump dog's been finalist of the world. Misty's had a good spring, won several casts, and the Tank dog's been around a long time and been in the top 8 NHBA, I think twice. So, definitely a good cast. I saw your draw and I thought, yeah, that'll be a good cast for sure.
Yeah.
So just talk about that cast. How did dude pull it out? Let's get into a little bit more of the details in this final cast.
It was ugly. That's the truth right there. It was ugly. The Misty dog struck for 100. After we probably went 20 minutes without bark first, then we got the dog gathered up and moved in deeper. Misty dog struck in for 100. She, if I remember right, she went into a check by herself, and then the Tank dog opened up, and so locked her into her 20 minus. So he struck for 75, and then they broke down, and they went into a check.
And just our listeners know, the ground was probably full
It
of
was
ice by now, right? It's
no, it wasn't. It had warmed up.
okay.
It just it was just rough. It really was. It was just rough. And dude opened for third to lock them in on their checks. So they ate 20 minus, and they ran, and then the trump dog opened up, but we're both struck in at 50, and they ran for the longest time, and we couldn't get a line scored, and then they kind of hushed up a little bit and scattered up a little bit, and 3 dogs went to the right, and dude opened up looking at a rabbit to the left, and the other guys called split track.
Mm.
And
Oh man,
they
those dang split tracks.
They end up breaking down and coming in the dude, so they eat their minus.
Gotcha.
And we never scored a line. They run that rabbit out for, I don't know, the last 15, 16 minutes, and we never got a line scored.
Wow.
And they, so I won with 50 strike, no minus.
And I couldn't believe that's all. That spot, I've been told is an unreal spot. Of course, that's, bad changing the weather like that can do things.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they scored just a few weeks before that when I was down to the Indiana State hunts. They hunted that, and they scored good in there, and it was a good spot. And they ran rabbits, so we just couldn't get a line,
Right.
Nothing to do with the spot, and it just wasn't, it wasn't the greatest, but they definitely, there was rabbits there. They got after them, running them. And like the spectators seen several, just not the ones the dogs were running,
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
it was.
So that seals the deal for dude right there, that track there at the end.
Yep. They did. And, they, I kind of questioned it a little bit because I wasn't sure they were going to give them their minus.
Gotcha.
And then like right after that, the one judge, he had actually scored a line on the tank dog, but he wasn't eligible for the line because he hadn't run the majority of that track because he had left the track and come into us, So I felt that could have been handled a little differently before then, but it was the right call, and that not just because it was me winning, it was the right call. Not a lot of people agreed. But it definitely was the right call. Them dogs deserved to be minus. And if they never would have went yelling, split track running down towards their dogs, they might not never got the minus.
Right.
Well,
things happen.
Yeah.
And we all go there. Anybody says difference line, we go there to win.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the end of the day, also none of this is life and death. It's something we love, and it's something we put a lot of time in. So, those things can happen. And when you have a tough cast and conditions suck, and you got split tracks, those are tough. Those are tough casts all around.
Yep, absolutely.
And things can happen, and sometimes things don't go the way you want them to go, and sometimes they do. Just part of the game.
It worked out for me. I'd have rather been able to score lines and, let my dog show his work,
Mm-hmm.
but it worked out and he won, and he had a good week, and I felt he deserved to win because he went over there and did what he was supposed to do, and they did pull to him, so they, but I'd like that if we could have got some scoring some lines and then, really been able to podcast what
do you think of that running down there? I mean, they got a ton of that's some awesome running at that Magenta, and just to give another shout out to that club, that's a great club. Anybody in the Midwest, wants to attend a great club. It's pretty awesome over there, don't you think?
They got the best running I think I've been to as far as consistency. As any club I've been to. They used to have the ARHA World Hunt in southern Indiana, and that was some really good running, and you didn't have to go far. that's another good thing. Like the Magenica Club there, they got good running, but you ain't driving all over the countryside.
Mm-hmm.
15, 20 minutes at the most, and you're hunting.
That's pretty special.
Yeah, and you got good hunting. And they did a really good job, and like I said, they got some good hunting. So
it's probably the only area that I know of outside of maybe Waynesburg that can keep that many casts and not have to go real far.
Yeah.
It's a pretty neat place. I haven't been there for a long time, but last time I was there, I remember seeing so many rabbits in every cast. Didn't seem to really be a honey hole, but every spot was what I would call honey hole from the running we have here compared to that. But so probably the running up there where you live now, that's probably a little bit different, right, than Magenica?
Yeah, well, so they hunt a lot of state land down there. Now, you can't pay me to hunt state land for cottontails up where I live because it ain't no good. So 95% of our running's private ground.
Okay.
And we got good rabbit population. I mean, I have really good spots. I mean, as far as like my rabbit population is just as good as what they got up there, but my spots ain't as big as what they got for, their state land. They're just huge, and dogs can just run.
Yeah. Like I said, when I've been up there fishing, I always look, driving down the road. If you're a rabbit hunter, you're always looking. You just can't help yourself. I'll be like, man, look at that spot there. I bet that place has a lot of rabbits. But
yeah.
So Doug, what I'm looking here as of the last NHBA sectional race update, you're sitting second, I believe, right now.
Yep.
In that point race, are you pursuing that? What's the future here for you and Dude?
Well, like I said, he don't take the heat very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I do plan on making a push. Hopefully it ain't too far out. Once the weather breaks, I plan on making a big push with him this fall. So I probably won't hit nothing until the McVeigh hunt.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So I got it's like I said, just the heat, and he, like I said, he is 7, and they ain't nothing.
Probably at this stage of his life. I mean, most dogs I've had when they get to that age, they're a little bit lower maintenance. Would you say that's fair about him, or do you need more time to get him ready?
No, and he's ready all the time. But like I'm blessed as far as like, so I'm partnered up with a couple dogs with Davey. Davey's retired.
Mm-hmm.
And Davey got really good running right at his house, so he can just let the dogs out and let them run. So he can keep them in tune, And just like when I went there to MBHA days, I had worked quite a bit, so Davey was helping me keep dogs in tune and whatever. And he, when I went there to get them, he goes, they put us in rabbits. He says she's going to win this thing. That was before we even left.
Mm-hmm.
So he had him in tuned in. So, so I'm blessed for like that part because, he's in shape all the time.
That's perfect.
So like Davey will let him go out and let him out at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and let him run until, starts getting warm and get him caught up. So he stays in shape. Mm-hmm. So he'll be ready. I just need the weather to break a little bit. Cause like I said, if he got lots of brains, but if he just uses brains, because if you get something, he'll pace himself. But if you get something pushing him, he's not smart enough to just pace himself. He's gonna push because he ain't wanting to be second place.
Yeah.
So then that's when he'll overheat up a little bit, because that's what he overheated at me at the Indiana State hunt, and it cost me getting in the finals.
Oh, okay.
So because I went down there, I doubled up with him and was leading my cast pretty handily to get in to win 3 casts with him, and he got overheated on me, and
and that's dangerous.
Yep.
We're going to this summer. I hope to do some podcasts with some veterinary experts and things. That's one of the topics we're going to talk about, and it's something I've seen guys really not pay attention to in these summer dog trials. I mean, to me personally, there's just no dog trial worth my dog.
No, No, me neither. So they just ain't none worth my dog. He don't owe me a thing, and I ain't gonna go put him at risk for
Sure.
a trophy.
Mm-hmm. So
So, but no,
what
go ahead.
you touched on, getting dude ready and your partner running him. What's your philosophy on, getting a dog ready for a field trial? Are you a solo guy? Or are you like, he's solo and I'm a pack guy? There's a lot of different
I'm a
ideas
I'm
on
a
that.
I'm a solo guy. Like I said, I don't run with a lot of people. If I do go running to be with Davey, I got a couple cousins I go run with occasionally, or I go run with Frank, because Frank got beagles too.
Mm-hmm.
But normally I bring one dog, they bring one dog. I don't pack. If I turn dogs loose and just if I cut two loose together, that's enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pack them up because I want them. Sometimes it hurts them, but if you learn them what they want, to me, I've learned that if you solo a dog, they ain't relying on them other dogs.
That's exactly right.
So, they go out there and do their own thing, and they're operating just like they're by themselves. Don't matter what them other ones are doing.
Mm-hmm. I'm starting to think me and you are related. Maybe I'm not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like I said, I live for the competition hunts. I do. Even when I win, I always strategize in my head. If there was something I could have done different to make the outcome even better, or I almost lost, if I'd have done something different, why, if we could have to practice the rest of the week going into the next weekend to make sure that mistake don't happen again, So
what do you think about each dog though as an individual? Like you could probably guess, I'm a huge solo guy myself. And I think a lot of us that were coon hunters, have you noticed that's kind of what we do when we get into bagels? I just find that to be pretty consistent. But do you see some dogs that I think I've myself been guilty in the past of over soloing a dog where I needed to bang it more, and I've kind of changed some of my philosophy. I think these dogs are individuals. Like I've seen some dogs on a Friday before a hunt, you need to pack them. What do you think about that?
I've seen it. This depends on the dog. It really do. It depends on the dog. Like I said, I'm really hard to please. I am. And if I constantly got to try to fix something on a dog, and, if I got to continuously pack him, to make him operate, mm-hmm. I get rid of him. That's just me, like I said, I don't like packing dogs. Like I said, if I run two dogs, that's the only packing they're going to get.
Yeah, same here, really. Yeah.
I hate leading two dogs. In the same way with two dogs, I hate leading them. And my dog, I'll be the first one to admit, my dogs know when they're at a competition hunt, and they are sorry handlers. Yeah. At home, I never put them on a leash because their tone broke.
Yeah, but I'm guilty. I feel the pain, buddy.
But I'm always the last one getting my dog caught because he's always out there somewhere, and they ain't coming. People got these whistles and blowing their dogs come to them, and I don't got no whistle because I ain't blowing a whistle when I'm out there pleasure hunting or getting them ready because I got that little tone button,
I guess at some point if I get too old to go get the dog, I'm gonna have to do something about that. But I'm guilty of that as well. At the Nationals there last month, every time judge say handle dogs, I would just take off walking fast, looking at my Garmin. And finally, like the third track, the judge says, "You don't really yell for that dog." I said, "Well, it'd be pointless unless she's 10 feet from me."
Yeah. I don't yell for mine either because they know I'm coming.
Yeah, you got maybe that's where I'm messing up.
In there and get them.
Yeah, I got to sneak in there.
But. Yeah, for sure. They know I'm coming. They're going to go further away.
Yeah. Sneak, get in there like a ninja on them.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Doug, I need to probably wrap this up here pretty soon. I really have enjoyed this, and congratulations. I know several people that have been in cast with you, and they describe you as a very professional handler out there, and I think we need that's what we need in the sport. nothing wrong with being competitive, but they describe you as a professional, and glad to see you having success.
I appreciate it.
So, guys, we anything else, Doug? One more thing. I'm going to steal something here from Sam Buff. So when he hears this, he's going to say, "Shoot, Mitch stole my question." I think it's a cool question. So what's one thing? I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. What's one thing about Doug McCombs that people may not know?
One
Something
thing
that's interesting about you that none of us would probably know in the dog world.
I don't know. That's a hard.
Think of anything?
I can't think of a thing. No, I
can give you a pass, I guess.
Well, I go by a motto, and I got some shirts to say it.
Oh yeah, what is it? That'd be good to share. I'll take that.
Yeah. I go. Shut your mouth and let your dog do the talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you got that on a T-shirt, do you?
Yep.
You might want to trademark that. Set up a vendor or something, bring those to hunt. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I got some shirts to say McCombs Beagles on them. And,
I like it.
Don't run your mouth. Let your dog do the talking.
That's right. I like it, buddy.
Yeah, that's about what I go. I mean, I'm on a blowhard, and I don't really talk, and I don't sit in the groups, like a lot of people do. I go there for one thing, and that's to try to win,
Yeah.
So,
well, buddy, I really appreciate it. And, for audience, just one more time, this is Doug McCombs, guys, winner of that 2023 NHBA Days with Dude. And congratulations, Doug. And, hey, good luck the rest of the year in that sectional race. Like, as I said, folks, Dude's sitting second right now. We're going to have a full review of the current sectional race and look at those top handful of dogs that are chasing that NHBA sectional championship. So, Doug, good luck to you, buddy. I hope you keep having success, and I guess I'll probably see you at the McVeigh Hunt or certainly at the World Hunt, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, we'll definitely be at the World Hunt. We'll be at the McVeigh Hunt.
Awesome, buddy. All right, man. All right, thanks a lot, Doug. Take care, buddy.
No problem. I appreciate it.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Well, folks, that's going to wrap up episode 4. I hope you've enjoyed it. I appreciate our listeners tuning in to each and every episode, and special thanks to Alan Newby and Doug McCombs coming on. Remember, folks, get out and join the NHBA. And there's no time like the present. We'll be seeing you again here soon. We're several podcasts in the works that'll be released here in the coming months. And don't forget, we're going to have a live show coming up here real soon. There'll be some announcements to get everybody prepared. If you want to join, you'll be able to ask questions, and we're going to have Trevor McQueen on, Vice President NHBA, to help me field those questions. And we're going to talk about that new merit-based Hall of Fame system for the NHBA. So again, thank you to everyone that tuned in, and have a great and blessed day.